In Pieces, by Gabriel Micah. I start remembering in pieces. Not a full life, not even enough for a well-edited movie, just a frayed ribbon of events caught on film. The type that you can barely spool back onto your finger so you can hold it up to the light. Just fragments of things. The scent of 2 pina coladas, a word still vibrating in the air like unanswered prayers. The half-moon dent of a thumbnail carved into my palm. The color of carpet, unremarkable and yet unique now that the only color that seems to exist is my own. I don't know I am dead yet. No one tells you these things. There isn't a bright light. There's only the way time turns gray, like a hallway that keeps opening to the same creaky door. You look back and the door is gone and yet it is still ahead of you. You walk forward and your footprints are in front of you, fresh, waiting for you. Pieces of something you can't quite reach yet. It's more than a memory. There's the black hat, curved just so, dried blood resting on it as it sits on the back of a chair, as if it will stay there and forever anchor the room to the idea of someone. There's the slow laugh that is not so cruel by itself, a laugh he seems to use on morning shows backstage along with handshakes and autographs signed with a soft flourish. There's the cologne that smells like clean wood and pinky promises. There's my name, spoken like it has 2 meanings. Emma. As if the second syllable hides an impending thought. I wish this were a haunting where I can rattle the windows and make the thermostat dip at inopportune times. I would even settle for flickering a light. But whatever this is keeps me inside the angles of my memory. I can look outward from within moments I have already lived. I can tilt the frame a degree and see that things are missing. I can't change them, but I can finally read the fine print in the reflection of my thoughts. Moments written in the margins while I was busy being alive. The margins I took for granted. The margins that spoke of the truth under all the lies. He said he liked that I didn't ask for a selfie. I'm old-fashioned, I told him, surprised I could still be shy at my age. He smiled like I'd told him a secret about morality that he agreed with. Little did I know I was standing outside the fire. When we met, I was stocking dry goods in a little store off Red River Street. My boss had gone home for the night, and the lights were too bright for stormy weather. The radio was playing one of his songs in that way radios do, like they sponsored his trip to the convenience store this evening. He came in for a bottle of water and gum. He could have been anyone, and to be honest, I wouldn't even have realized it was him if it wasn't for the radio. But I did, and pretended not to, as if my pretense might make the world less ridiculous. You're closing up, he asked, paying in cash, like a gentleman, or at least like a man playing one, which at the time felt the same. In 20, I said. You need a ride, he asked. I shouldn't have accepted. That sort of thing knows how to bury itself into a woman's past mistakes. It sews itself into the hem of every excuse after the fact. But you didn't want to be rude. He seemed safe in the way bad things often practice being so in a mirror, rehearsed, warmed by a forward-facing camera. Later in the courtroom, I watched him smile at the jurors on the night of my death, and the day his alibi mocked every past victim. I cannot say whether angels were watching with me. I'm not that kind of ghost, I guess. I'm the kind that sits quietly in the gallery of misfortune, unseen, non-corporeal, feeling the air shift when people make the same mistakes I did, and when they lie to themselves because they practice being human more than safety. America loves a rodeo man in a hat. He captured that in his persona. He was somewhere else when I died. I was bleeding out in an abandoned church while his trial made headlines. I took my last breath much too young, and I arrived shortly before the verdict. He had been photographed leaving the courtroom and arriving at an after-event, and then again at a late dinner, where he didn't eat because he was worried about what fame looks like when it chews coleslaw. So tidy. This, they said, is a man who could not have done what a nameless someone did to a nameless woman in her own home. The pieces, the hallway outside my apartment, the hum of a vending machine, the click of a key in the wrong hand. I don't show you violence, just duct tape. If you're here for blood, you're at the wrong ticket window. All the worst things are the simplest verbs anyway. Wait, follow, close, push, whisper, promise, cut. The bar off 6th Street. This won't take long, he said, as if time were something he controlled. In a way he did. People like him are issued extra minutes by strangers, a kindness per breath. He is famous, the mind says, and the mind replaces the word with sacred as time goes on. He's kind. He's generous. He's a good man carrying too many expectations. The mind takes this story and uses it to wrap his hands around your throat. The last living thing I felt was a question, the sort asked only in emergencies. Is this happening to me? Then my life became a room with no angles, and a sound I didn't recognize rang out. Not screaming. I do not remember screaming. I remember my own heartbeat. I remember the way he went quietly and carefully, like a man packing up a guitar before the next show. He would come back after I died. Afterlife is a word the living invented to make time feel important. The pieces of my memory became doorways I could step through and stand behind like a mirror. Like a time traveler, I stood in the store and watched the scene again. He was charming and tired and real in the sort of way myths make great stories. I wanted to put my hand on my own shoulder and steer me toward somewhere other than the night. The phone, the boss, the bottle of water he didn't actually need. Instead, I learned the rules of whatever agency I have left. I could name the shadows now. They have different faces, and I could slow a moment to find their edges. I could look into a face and see not the eyes, but the soul in them, the way some people keep looking past you long after they've decided who you are. I could sit on his music like dust and feel the rooms as they filled for him. Green rooms cooled to a steady 67 degrees. Hotel suites with bowls of fruit edited by paid employees. Vans that smell like new leather and bad thoughts. He went on tour. Of course he did. The court said he was innocent of the wrong murder. The headlines were a second exoneration, louder than the first. He cried appropriately in interviews, not tears exactly. The version of tears men are allowed to shed on television, the kind that make their eyes look like they're reliving a memory in time. He talked about faith and forgiveness and the heaviness of the accusation. He said he prayed for everyone. His family, his in-laws, and even the first responders. He said he wanted to return to what he loved, the stage and the people who believed in him. I learned to ride the current of his noise. Music is a river if you get close enough. It carries rooms for the ride. It carries faces, carries long stretches of highway glittering like the underside of a fish from the streetlights. In the arena, the hat glowed like a neon sign. The crowd was warm-hearted, vast, and full of lonely bargains with his inner demon. Love me back, they begged, and he did. In his own way, he did. His voice braided itself through their emptiness like vines, finding the weak spots in the foundations, through mine, and for a second I hated myself for feeling anything at all. Then I remembered. The feeling was mine before it was his art. My pain has become the broken pieces of this song. Beside the stage, in the shadow of the security barrier, I watched a girl maybe 19 grip her wristband and cry like she had glimpsed the heavens. I wanted to warn her. Of what, though? Of poison disguised as sweetness? Of trust that siphons your smile? General warnings are worth as much as fortune cookies. People will always trade a little safety for a story they can hold in the light of a cigarette. We are built for it. He sang the ballad he wrote about that summer. It is a good song. That is perhaps the cruelest sentence I can think of. Evil should be awful at art. It should have a tell the whole world can see. Instead, he landed on every note and soaked in every smile. He thanked the town as if it was a gift he had given them. Then he turned to the band and nodded like a man humbled before excellence. Each gesture had been test-driven on a million different hearts. He is better at people than anyone I have ever known. He is a locksmith in a world trapped behind ignorance. After the show, he walked the hallway toward a private lounge. He shook hands along the way and used first names as if he knew them. He didn't drink alcohol, and he held a bottle of water like a prop, meant to suggest that his intentions were transparent. I waited in the corner where the hallway bent, invisible to his eyes because he had shaded me in so darkly. Not even a shadow could find me. I don't know who makes the rules for the dead. I only know that it still hurts to be unseen. If you long to be near a person, you drift the way leaves drift to the side of a street. If you long for answers, you find yourself listening through walls and finding more questions. If you long for justice, you learn that it's only meant for poems and puff pieces. I can peel back moments and find the quiet thoughts inside the memories. Not all of them so quiet. I cannot see his secrets the way you might imagine, cannot read his mind like captions. But the loudest thought from a second ago lingers in the air, damp, and I can feel the shape of it. In him, it is never guilt. It is management. He runs on the oil of logistics. He is thinking about a route and a time window and the frictionless ways men like him move through people's lives. He is thinking about the next interview and how to nudge his story into the space between what his audience knows and what they want to be true. I follow every moment. The dead can't get tired, so I watch him. He is careful with cameras, with reflections, with the dividing line between adoration and suspicion. The public Gavin carries the private Gavin inside like a secret compartment made from Alabama clay. When the show ends and the last bus door closes, he goes quiet the way his knife goes quietly into a drawer. He doesn't hum. He doesn't pace. He sits inside his own stillness and lets the world come to him. Like an artist waiting for his next muse. Once, in a small city where the water left tailies of limestone, I watch him stalk a woman who could have been me in another life. A bartender with steady hands and dollar store-worthy shoes. She cleans the same glass over and over when she likes the conversation of a person. She calls everyone honey. She laughs the way an old pipe does when warm water runs through it, politely and unexpectedly. Sometimes you can't even trace its origin. She compliments her work in a register of voice that sounds like home. She looks down at her ring, not to check if it's still there, but to remember what she still lives for. A piece I had forgotten clouded my thoughts like a fog rolling in out of nowhere. It is a moment months before my death, when I dreamt I was walking down the center of a road with no lights and no people. In the dream, my hands were sticky with something dark and red, and I kept pressing my fingers together and pulling them apart to see the strands. In the dream, I knew something about the way people cling and stretch themselves to conform and fit in. I woke up to a day that asked for rent, coffee, and a long lunch break. It went back into the dream, but there's a storm this time. I think the brain tries to set up warning signs with clouds and metaphors when it cannot write you a note you would actually understand. I want to tell my side, he says into a microphone in a city where the arena used to be a field, and the field used to have a creek where children would pretend they were in a stadium. The crowd roars in favor of the concept, like they understand the clouds and metaphors in his story. His side. The side of a man who could not have been in two places at once. He gives them humility, the same way a mime hands you a rope. He plays a song about his wife and what's she doing now. I don't think he truly misses her. Where most men would search a room for a sense of her presence, he instead looks at the way the room feels calm. I hunt the space around him for people like loose change. They are not people to him, just objects and inspiration. They are emotional and kind, 2 drinks into a night they saved a month for. They are tired of being normal and looking to pretend. Like me, they're practiced in the art of ignoring the voice inside that says leave this place, because the voice is wrong as often as it is right, and the world cannot be lived in hiding. I can't push over a glass. I can't shout. I can't even whisper warnings into the air. But I can sit with them in that moment and hope they can hear my cry. That's all I can do for now. Small things. Sometimes it works and they get an uncomfortable feeling. They finish their drink or grab their bag and leave. Sometimes they cross their arms and put up walls. Sometimes they text a friend to meet up. Then there is the nights it does not work. Like for Leela. Leela is not impressed by fame, only by kindness. I know this because I can feel her priorities arranged like spices in a kitchen. She is 28 and recently decided to forgive her father for the things he cannot change, even though he is not a good man. She has come to the show because her sister loves him and did not want to go alone. Her hair is up in a practical bun that, alone with her pantsuit, makes her look like a wall of loneliness. She has no illusions, and that is why she is vulnerable, but she believes villains come with warning labels. So did I. She is careful at first. She keeps a distance like a duckling tailing its mother. Then he extends to her what the world keeps giving him in spades, a small convenience, a soft path, and a steady hand. He is a solution to the problem she never knew existed. He is a name she can repeat to her sister tomorrow, the archetype of a safe man in an American dream, successful, devout, kind, indivisible. He says, "This won't take long," and a memory cuts through me to a different life where a bottle of water sweats as the world around us stands thirsty with its back to us. I feel something that must be the spirit of another lost piece. It passes through me like a blade. If I had a body, I would be shaking. There are no rules to this newfound existence, though it does seem like each memory follows some sort of pattern. In the next moment, I am alone in a hallway, and there is only a sign on a door saying that no one can enter without a pass that no one ever gets. I look at the hat on the chair beside the sign. It arrests me, that ridiculous hat, ornate in its emptiness. Every time he wears it, people hand him another inch and he takes what is left. It is the executioner's mask. I sit with the hat and wait for time to return to a straight line. When the door finally opens, it's the assistant with the clipboard, efficient and smiling in the way people smile when the numbers are all adding up. She carries a bag as she always does. Inside the bag, there are ordinary things: wallet, gloves, the hotel room key, breath mints. None of it is special until you add some context to its story. The bag is only a bag. The hat is only a hat. The hallway is only a hallway. And they carry around an aura of despair. Days pass like waves hitting a shoreline. News stories come and go. The thunder rolls and the show goes on. Leela is missing now. She is just another pattern in this never-ending quilt of suffering. Shades of pain playing over and over on repeat. I want to believe the world can be brighter than its habits, that it will self-correct, that a detective will have a hunch one morning, cancel his plans, and look where no one had thought to before. I want to believe a fan will notice some small thing, the way a news article shows up in a town where no news ever happens. I need someone to bring this world to its knees and shine a light on what is truly hiding under their bed. Instead, I do all I can do, in case tomorrow never comes. I catalog the lies that are almost true. If I could write them down, I'd fill a room. I memorize the route from the stage to the back lot. I listen to the creaks in 1,000 floorboards the way a locksmith listens to tumblers fall in place. I learn the names of the security guards because names are how I tag these pieces. I learn how he maps cities and plans his timelines. I learned him. I cannot warn them, but I can witness their story. If I cannot testify, I will remember everything in high definition so later, if later exists, there will be a chain that does not break. I hold in one hand the kindnesses he uses like a lure, the donations made, a stranger's coffee paid for, scholarships for our future children, and in the other hand I hold the silenced people he cultivates like spare change, just rattling around like it's barely noticeable. I trace where they are rounded up and where they are hidden away. He was acquitted last time because he could not be in 2 places at once, so I build a map that says otherwise. He doesn't need to be in 2 places. He only needs people to believe he was. I follow him to a radio station where he speaks about grace, and the host laughs like a man who knows the punchline. I drift past photographs on the station wall, minor legends with paper smiles, the wallpaper of an industry designed to make you forget that the applause is only to mask the sound of sorrow. I stand in the doorway that goes nowhere and send the smallest of whispers into the room, not at him, at the producer whose gut is smarter than their puffed-up resume of DJ gigs and open mic nights. The producer texts her husband and asks him to meet her. Somewhere, a pattern emerges so quietly it would still have gone unnoticed if anyone was even looking. After the interview, he walks past a glass case of his gold records and his reflection aligns with them. Each one represents a trophy, not for the music, but for the lives he took on the tour. But for a second, I see the boy he used to be, righteous in the way boys are before they learned righteousness lost. Did he ever choose another road? Did he practice kindness before he practiced desire? The question doesn't matter. What matters is the road he took, and his path took him toward rooms where his name opened the locks, toward people who have been trained since infancy to offer him a hand so that he might offer one in turn. Leela remains missing. Emma remains dead. I say our names to myself the way a tide etches itself into a cliff. I say the names of others so I can give their memories a home. We are not a chorus in his song. I won't romanticize this. There is no harmony in the way we take form. We are only here because we are stubborn, a clue that refuses to go unseen. We are more than a memory. We are the pieces.